Oh my god, bro. This killer is so stupid. I'm done, bro. God, what a stupid. Bro, this is like my 8th time getting this map. You know what? No, I'm just done, man. I'm done. I'm done not playing this match. Bro, are you serious? It has been 4 seconds and my teammates haven't done all the generators. This is actually unbelievable. I hate this game, man. I'm just done. Everyone has rage quit at one point or another in their life, just because video games can be frustrating. But in terms of DBD, it seems that the survivor side likes to DC a lot more than the killer side. Sure, killers can get angry and frustrated in rage quit too, but why do survivors tend to DC more? Today, I think I've got a couple of reasons to why this is likely, with the third and last one being the main one and the most likely to have an effect. So let's just start with the first reason, and that is bad teammates. Every survivor in the DBD community that plays solo queue will complain about bad teammates. However, the math doesn't check out here. If everyone complains about bad teammates, well, where are the good teammates, since apparently the people complaining are really good? Well, what's most likely at play here is that people just like blaming other people. The same can't be said for killers, since you don't have anyone else on your team. That's why killers like to complain more about the game and the game's balance instead, since they can't really shift the blame to anyone else. But even as survivor, you can have completely logical and good teammates and still find something to nitpick about them. However, Dead by Daylight isn't the only game where you get bad teammates. What makes DBD worse is that there is zero communication possible with them, other than the 2 emotes you're given, which barely count as communication. A while back, we got the solo queue indicators on the left side of the screen by the UI, which I think is a great change and was very much needed. I don't know how we ever played the game without it, to be honest. But it still leaves a big communication gap with solo queue players and survive with friends. It's not even close between how much information you can gather and share. So I think the biggest complaint about bad teammates is more coming from the ability to not communicate with those teammates. This is probably what causes the most frustration and what leads you into an awful cycle of playing solo queue and never being satisfied. The second main reason is that survivors lack power. For DBD to be even slightly balanced, the 4 survivors have to be as strong as the 1 killer. So as a result, the 4 survivors are all much weaker than the killer on their own. And I believe that even though this is an inherent part of the game, and it always should be this way, that's why Survivor can seem frustrating sometimes. You are only a quarter as strong as the person you are playing against, and that can feel really bad sometimes. For example, you can't force a killer to go to a loop that you want, but the killer can force you to go to a loop that they want just by zoning you. That's just a small example of macro gameplay where the killer is mostly in control, but what map you get, what killer you play against, and what perks that killer run, and how serious they decide to play can all have a completely different effect on the tempo of the game. Pretty much as Survivor, if you're playing solo queue, there is no way for you to have a significant change on the game right off the bat. For example, if you're playing Nurse, you can bring 4 strong perks and 2 strong add-ons, and right off the bat the survivors know what they're up against, because you're able to display that type of power. But as a solo queue teammate, what can you really do? Just sprint burst in their face and get hit? There's not much you can do. With all these reasons, I'm not trying to justify why survivors DC, I'm just explaining the psychology behind it, I guess. I'm not saying that it's okay to DC for these reasons. Survivors should be weaker than the killer, that's how the game is designed and it's supposed to be balanced. But just as an inherent part of the role, you're going to feel weaker. And that can be very frustrating sometimes, especially if you keep losing every chase and you feel like your teammates aren't doing anything. You can just feel so alone, and playing a 1v1 where the other person you're playing against is 4 times as strong as you, it could just feel horrible and it could lead you to DC. The third, final, and main reason to why I think Survivors DC is actually not one that I see discussed a whole bunch. And it's that survivors will be taken out of the game for a long time. Even though no one addresses it or no one really talks about it, when you go down as Survivor, you subconsciously know in your mind you're not going to be able to play the game for probably another minute. By the time the killer picks you up, carries you to the hook, a teammate comes, unhooks you, and maybe add another 16 seconds to get healed. That is pretty much a minute of just not being able to play the game. It's pretty much like dying in a game where you can respawn. But the difference between, let's say, CSGO, Valorant, Overwatch, all these games where you can die, it's that you can spectate while you're dead. You can do something. thing. DBD has this awful flaw where if you're slugged or you're on the hook, you're pretty much not even playing the game at that point. You're just sitting there looking at yourself hanging on a hook. And yeah, you know, sometimes when a survivor gets down and they know they're not going to get another chance to get chased or do something for another minute, it can be very discouraging. And then you're just like, okay, I'm just going to DC and go next, or I'm just done with this game. It's so frustrating. Again, I'm not trying to justify disconnecting. If you disconnect, that's on you, and you're probably a crybaby unless, you know, one of your teammates left first or the killer is just slugging for a 4K, then that's understandable. So yeah, I'm not trying to justify DCing by any account, but I really think this is the biggest reason survivors DC. When you go down, you're not going to play the game for a while, and it sucks. And what sucks even more is that I think there's a very easy fix to this. And as I mentioned earlier, it's to just let the person on hook spectate. Just like other games where you quote-unquote die, you can spectate your teammates. I already know that there's gonna be a couple of people that say that would just give survivors too much power and too much info. What info would this give survivors that you can't already have with Survive with Friends? And even then, it's not that much info. You can watch your teammate get chased and maybe learn more about the killer, but you know, if you're in a Survive with Friends, you can call that out anyway. My goal with this is to not buff Survivor at all. It's to make being hooked just bearable. And again, you would be able to still spectate yourself in case you want to call out that the killer is camping or they set a trap near you or whatever, but you can switch between your teammates and see what they're doing just to be a little bit less bored. I don't know, maybe I'm missing something where this would obscenely buff Survivor, but you know, just let me know in the comments then if I'm missing something here. And yeah, those are the 3 main reasons that I think survivors DC. If you want to check out some more videos, there should be 2 on screen right now, and I guarantee that both of them slap, so go watch them please, and thank you, I love you.